In this presentation, we will focus on rings, fields and finite fields. As usual, we will start the session with the outcomes. Upon the completion of this session, the learner will be able to understand the concept of rings, fields and finite fields with its definition. Before stepping into the topic of the day, let's have a quick run through on groups and abelian group. When we will call some set as a group, if it satisfies the following properties: closure, associative, identity element should exist in that set, and there should also be an inverse element. If A1, A2, A3, A4, all these four properties are satisfied, then we will call it as a group. If a group is commutative, then it is an abelian group. So A5 should also be satisfied. We have already seen this elaborately in the previous lectures with examples. Let's dive into the first topic, rings. What is a ring actually? A ring R denoted by R, plus, star. If you notice here in the previous cases, like in the group or in the abelian group, we had only one binary operation. But here we have two operations. One is addition and the other one is multiplication. Let's continue with the definition. A ring R denoted by R, plus, star is a set of elements with two binary operations called addition and multiplication, such that for all values A, B and C which belongs to R, the following axioms are obeyed. So what are all the axioms that should be obeyed if the set R, plus, star to be a ring? A ring must be a group first. So obviously it should satisfy properties from A1 to A4, and it should also be an abelian group. So obviously it should satisfy fifth axiom, commutative axiom. So a ring is obviously a group and also it is an abelian group. In addition to this, is there any other axioms to be satisfied? Yes, we have three more axioms to be satisfied. So all the additive related things are covered here. Let's focus on the multiplicative related axioms. It should be closure under multiplication. So I am noting it as M1. So it's axiom M1. Closure condition under addition is already satisfied here under A1. Now we are talking about M1, where M1 is closure under multiplication. Let's take any two elements from R, A, B, which actually belongs to R. Obviously the multiplication of A and B is AB. This AB should also belong to R. So this condition should also be satisfied. In addition to this, it should be associative of multiplication. That is, M2 should also be satisfied. So A into B into C is equal to AB into C. If you note here, I am not mentioning the multiplication symbol. By default, multiplication symbol is applied. So for all the values of A, B, C, if it is belonging to R, then the result A into BC or AB into C must also belong to R. And also this side should also be equal to this side. So if this is also satisfied, then M2 is also getting satisfied. And finally, we have one more condition to be satisfied. That is, it should be distributive. So this is axiom M3. Let's see the distributive laws, which is, in the associativity, we have associativity of multiplication in M2 and we have associativity of addition in A2. We know associativity under addition or multiplication which deals with the same symbol. But distributive means it uses both the symbols addition and multiplication. So A into B plus C is equal to AB plus AC. If you take A, B, C, all these A, B, C are belonging to R. It should also satisfy one more condition. It is A plus B into C, which is equal to AC, that is this, plus, which is this, BC. So as usual, for all A, B, C belongs to R. So the distributive law should also be satisfied. Simply, if a ring R, which is denoted by R, plus, star, is said to be a ring if it is already a group, that means A1 to A4 is satisfied. It is already an abelian group. A5 is also satisfied. Then M1, M2 and M3 are also satisfied. If all these conditions are satisfied, then the set what you are taking, that is R, plus, star, is said to be a ring. Simply a ring will satisfy from A1 to A5 and from M1 to M3. That's it about rings. Let's dive into a commutative ring. Before that, let's have a note here. Please note, the subtraction if you are going to perform A minus B is actually performed using addition only. Because this is actually performed with what? Addition only. There is no specific symbol for subtraction in rings. So what we are going to do here is A minus B can be done as A plus minus B. Both are same, right? So here actually our intention is to do subtraction, but this subtraction is actually performed using addition, like A plus minus B. This is not a big deal because B is already there in the ring and minus B will also be there in the ring. Why? Because a ring is actually a group. So in that group there will be an inverse element for B, which is minus B. So A minus B can be performed as A plus minus B. We are done with rings. Before diving into fields, let's see what is commutative ring. Let's see the definition now. A ring is said to be commutative if it satisfies the following additional condition. It should be commutative of multiplication, which is rule number M4. In an abelian group, we have seen commutativity of addition, and that is why we have mentioned it as A5. But here a commutative ring means it is basically a ring. It means A1 to A5 and M1 to M3 conditions or axioms are satisfied. In addition to it, if it is commutative under multiplication, that is A into B is equal to B into A, for all AB that you take, it is actually belonging to R. If this additional condition is also satisfied, then the ring is said to be a commutative ring. Commutative ring means it has already satisfied A1 to A5, M1 to M3. In addition to this, it also satisfies M4. We are done with rings and commutative rings. Let's dive into integral domain. What is this integral domain? An integral domain is a commutative ring that obeys the following axiom. It means an integral domain is already in commutative ring. So obviously A1 to A5 and M1 to M4 conditions are satisfied already. Now in addition to this, M5 condition should also be satisfied, which means there exists a multiplicative identity. It means there is an element 1 which belongs to R. Why 1 belongs to R? Because it is a multiplicative identity. So we know the identity element of multiplication is obviously 1. If you have 1 that actually belongs to R, such that if you take any element A into 1 is equal to 1 into A. So the product of A and 1 or the product of 1 and A will give the same value A, where this A is actually belonging to R. So is that the only condition to be satisfied? No, we have one more condition M6 that should also be satisfied if it should be an integral domain. So there should be no zero divisors. It means if you take any element A, B that actually belongs to the ring and the product of A and B is 0, then either A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0. If we are concerned about integral domain, please be noted that it already satisfies A1 to A5, M1 to M6, where M5 and M6 are exclusively for integral domain, M4 is for commutative ring, and M1 to M3 is for rings. Let's see about fields now. What is a field? A field F, sometimes denoted by F, plus, star, is a set of elements with two binary operations like the ring, which is called addition and multiplication. So in ring we have seen it as R, plus, star. In field we are using F, plus, star, such that A, B, C, any three elements that you take, it actually belongs to the field F if the following axioms are obeyed. Let's see what are the axioms that should be obeyed for fields. Number 1, A1 to M6 should be satisfied. What do we mean by this? It means this field is already a group and an abelian group, that is from A1 to A5 should be satisfied, and it should also be an integral domain. So obviously an integral domain is a commutative ring and a commutative ring is actually a ring. So from M1 to M6 all the previous conditions what we have seen should be satisfied. So in addition to this, M7 axiom should be satisfied. It means there exists a multiplicative inverse for each A that belongs to F. Except 0, there is an element A inverse in F such that A into A inverse or A inverse into A should give the identity element 1. I hope things are clear to you because you are going to take an element A in F, which is the field here, so that for A except 0, for all other values in this field F, there should exist a multiplicative inverse A inverse such that A into A inverse or A inverse into A will give the identity element 1. We already know subtraction cannot be directly performed, right? We normally do subtraction using addition only. Likewise, if you are preferring division, this division can also be done using multiplication. How? Just see that now. See, A by B, if you want to perform, you can simply do it as A multiplied by B inverse. So you first need to find what is B inverse. So you have B. Also you have B inverse belonging to this F, right? Because that's the basic requirement for a field. If you have an element B, obviously B inverse should exist in that field, isn't it? So A divided by B or A upon B can be done as A multiplied by B inverse. Let's see some familiar examples for fields. The examples for fields include the rational numbers, real numbers, and complex numbers. Before we see what is a finite field, let's consolidate whatever we have seen so far. If the set that you are taking is a group, then the axioms from A1 to A4 should be satisfied. If A5, that is commutative, is also satisfied of addition, then it is an abelian group. This abelian group is a ring only if M1, M2, M3 conditions are satisfied. This ring is a commutative ring, which is this if M4, the commutativity of multiplication, is also satisfied. An integral domain is a commutative ring if additional axioms M5 and M6 are satisfied. A field is an integral domain if M7 is satisfied. Simply, group satisfies A1 to A4, abelian group satisfies from A1 to A5, ring satisfies from A1 to A5 and M1 to M3, commutative ring satisfies A1 to A5 and M1 to M4, integral domain satisfies A1 to A5 and from M1 to M6, and a ring satisfies the conditions from A1 to A5 and from M1 to M7. Before we sign out, let's see what is a finite field. A finite field or Galois field, which is actually named in honor of Galois, is a field that contains a finite number of elements. So a field with a finite number of elements is called as a finite field or Galois field. So what we are going to do with this? As with any field, a finite field is a set on which the operations of multiplication, addition, subtraction and division are defined and satisfy certain basic rules what we have seen in the previous slides. If all these basic rules are satisfied, then it is a finite field only when it has a finite number of elements. The most common examples of finite field are given by the integers mod p, where p is obviously a prime number. Let's see the application areas of finite fields. It is actually applied in the areas of mathematics and computer science, which includes number theory, algebraic geometry, Galois theory, finite geometry, cryptography, and coding theory. And that's it, guys. I hope now you understood the concepts of rings, commutative rings, integral domains, fields, and finite fields. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for watching.